2.5 years of drought, and we really struggled out here. It was costing us about $600,000 a year to feed the camels. So over 2.5 years added up to nearly $1.5 million of money that went down the throat of an animal that we actually didn't have a budget for. So that really damaged our business, to be honest. So we had plans to do quite a few things, both operationally and for the tourism side, and we just haven't had about, we just couldn't do it. And because of when it came in our business development cycle, it'll probably take us about 3 to 5 years to get to a point where we can get back to even being able to do it again. But we were all right, but some other people really struggled. We still had a few people coming through. So when the bushfires were on, the media report, everything is like, Armageddon's here, and so nobody came to the Scenic Rim. We still had some visitors, but we had a lot of people in Boona and other places had zero. No people in November and December. Like not one person walked through the door. You can imagine what that would do to some businesses too. So between the drought and the bushfires, and then now our Corona. So has everyone got enough toilet paper? I just want to make sure. Yeah. We're stocked up, of course. I went down with a truck and bought a tornado. Between that, it's been pretty tough, hasn't it? But anyway, the good news is it rained.
Yay.
And so the Scenic Rim, please have a seat, we'll get going. The Scenic Rim has the most fertile soil in the southern hemisphere. Deloitte did a white paper a couple of years ago for the federal government. They looked all around Australia at which parts of Australia should be kept for food security, like which bits should we be really looking after. And Scenic Rim came right up the top there. So we've got beautiful soil here, and we've got about 8 volcanic springs on the property. And so the camels get highly mineralised food and water, which is really useful. But you can see how quickly it's recovered, and it's because of that soil and water here. It's just amazing. All right, so let's get in there. We've got about an hour. Who's the police officer on time?
We're taking off.
Did you turn up on time? You did.
Yeah, we did.
So I'll try and keep it as brief as possible, so we'll kind of be a bit of a running tour. But my name's Geoff Flood. I'm the managing director here at Summer Land Camels, and so welcome. And welcome to the Scenic Rim. Beautiful. Where are you going after this?
Scenic Rim Brewery.
Scenic Rim. Oh, fantastic. Yeah. So you're going to go to Mount Alford. So you'll get, it's beautiful. That's good. Sounds like a good day. Good. Is that a finishing spot?
No. That's just
getting started.
Oh my God. The rest of the afternoon could get messy. So we are the 3rd largest camel dairy in the world at the moment. And so we're probably about 80-85% of the camel industry in Australia. The reason we started is we wanted the milk, or I wanted the milk for my son and for some patients that I couldn't get the milk for. So I'll tell you how, who are you, Geoff, and what do you do? So I didn't grow up telling Mum I was going to be a camel dairy farmer, or anything camel, actually. So it's quite a bit of a joke in my family. But my family's background is agriculture up in central Queensland. Since about 1863, they've been farming up there. And when I finished school, I went to the University of Queensland and did biochemistry physiology as a double major. I was going to do maths physics, but there were no girls in the maths physics class. So I asked the tutor, I said, where are all the girls? He said, biochemistry physiology. I went, I'm going to biochemistry physiology. So that's actually how I ended up doing biochem physiology. And then I played rugby for a couple of years around the world, and I thought I can't do that forever. So I came back and I did nuclear medicine, then I did physiotherapy, then I did my Masters of Science with sports specialty, and I did some other research study and training in Europe and US and other places. And my expertise is epigenetics. So how does anyone know what epigenetics is?
Oh, that's in that trivia. Quick, tell us.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's how you express your genetic code or your DNA. Everyone says, oh, it's in your genetics, you can't help it. That's actually not true. So how you express your DNA. The other area is biome, so the things that live on you and in you, that's another area of my expertise, and your immune system, specifically the innate immune system, so how your body responds to different challenges, but also how your metabolism, your hormonal system, all your immune system all interact with those things, and how that all interacts with your diet. So 17 years ago, I had a series of practices in Sydney, physiotherapy practices, and we were doing all the stuff you imagine a young male sportsy people were doing. But in the end, I wasn't doing any physio at all. All I did would take referrals from GPs and specialist people that were not responding to treatment. So people with gut issues, lung issues, immune issues, neurological issues, emotional, all sorts of things, not physio. And I had a bit of a knack at working that out. And my approach was always pretty much as a natural approach, get them off medications and put them onto a diet that suited them and see what happens. Long story behind it, but I had a few patients that were really challenging. They had multiple autoimmune disorders all overlapping, and they were really challenging, which I quite like. But I had this baby boy that was riddled with eczema, and no matter what I do, whether it was a natural or pharmaceutical approach, nothing would shift it. And I don't know if anyone's had a child that's got something unwell. I mean, I remember being up one night, in tears, this poor kid scratching himself till he's bleeding. I said, if there's a God, take it off this child and give it to me, because as an adult I can deal with it, or if I have to give away my house and every cent I own and we just mood in the street, I'll do it right now. If you could just take it away, you'd do anything to help your child. And anyway, I eventually got him to sleep, and I couldn't sleep, so I went over and I started searching on the internet, just doing a review of some medical literature. You're always trying to keep up to date, and I came across this research a guy in Israel was doing on camel milk, and he reported successfully treating autistic children and children with eczema using camel milk. And I thought, bullshit. There's no way that a weird animal's milk's going to help autism. That's a really complicated gut-brain disorder, and we're still just finding out about it. And then I heard to myself, and I thought, wow, that's the height of arrogance. You know zero about camel milk. How dare you criticise this guy's research, Geoff, when you don't know anything about camels? I thought, right, I'm going to find out everything I can about camels and camel milk, and I'm going to telephone this sucker in Israel, and I'm going to have a good debate with him, because there's no way this is true. So I went and read everything I could, food, vet, medical science, every science, and by the time I finished, I realised he was right. It wasn't just gut-brain disorders like autism, but it was also anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, inflammatory bowel conditions like Crohn's and ulcerative colitis, irritable bowel, diabetes, type 1 and type 2 diabetes. We know absolutely, definitely it helps with type 2 diabetes, there's zero doubt, right? Autoimmune disorders, inflammatory skin disorders, atopic issues like asthma, eczema, it went on. I thought, right, I need camel milk for my patients and for my son. Somebody's going to be milking camels in Australia. We have like 500,000 of them. Someone must be milking them. 17 years ago, there were no camel dairies on the planet. The only place I could get camel milk was like Mongolia or Rajasthan or Pakistan or the MENA region. Tribal people that have been milking camels for over 10,000 years. Now they knew why the milk was good for them. They thought I was kind of a bit of a joke when I was telling them it was good for them. They're like, of course we know that. But nobody was milking camels to sell or distribute the milk. So I thought, I'm going to start a camel dairy so that people in Australia can have access to this milk. And I don't care if it helps 5%. Like if I had been told, you can drink this milk and it's going to give you a 5% improvement in your son, I would have taken it straight away. So I thought, it doesn't matter how much it helps, we should have it available here in Australia, particularly when we have camels that are just being slaughtered for no reason. So I sold my practices to a public company, and my intention was to take the money and go and start a camel dairy. But I got hoodwinked into doing strategic advisory work for different companies and governments and stuff all over the world. And so it took me about 11 years to come back and start Summer Land Camel Farm. Now I knew I needed somebody to help me because you can't do all of it. It was a huge project that we'd set up to do. So my friend Paul Martin, who's an ag expert, came in with me. He's my partner in this project. So we're about 4.5 years in, and the first 4 years, the aim was, how do you operate a commercial camel dairy? Because actually nobody's done it before. Because even the two bigger dairies in the Middle East, one's in Dubai, one's in Abu Dhabi, they're both sponsored by the sheikhs. Now, camels are in the Quran and the set of books under the Quran called the Hadith. They're in there over 250 times. Muhammad had a thing for camels, right? So they do it almost as not an obligation, because they want to. It's a connection to their religion, it's a connection to their culture and their way of life. It's almost an expectation for them. But they subsidise it, push money into those. So there's no real urge or drive to come up with lower costs of production. And there's no connection to the quality of the milk, so they don't really worry about it. But the whole reason for this project is highest quality milk in the world at the lowest possible cost of production. Because in Australia, we don't have the money, I don't have oil and gas pumps going to pay for things. So we have a very different approach. So no one had done it before. So the first 4 years was how do you actually operate a camel dairy commercially? Tick, we've done that. We've worked it out and we've documented it and systemised it. No one's done that before. The next thing was, now we've got this milk, is it any good? So is our system of operation produce raw milk that actually has the health benefits that you see in the research? Turns out we have the best milk in the world. And I'd love to say it was because we're really clever, but it's actually sheer ass. Every camel dairy in the world has to give their camels salt as a supplement because they have a really high demand for minerals. We don't need to because we've got volcanic spring water straight off basalt rock. So we don't need to give the camels any salt at all. They just drink the water, they get a full mineral supplement. And all the food's all highly mineralized. So what's happened is through that we've ended up with milk that's got really high solids and it's got a slightly different profile with more immune proteins and all the things that are good for you. There seems to be more in it in our milk. So okay, we got great milk. We did that research with UQ. How long should raw milk last before it goes off? You put it in the fridge, straight out of the cow, straight in the fridge. How long should it last?
Week.
Yeah, a week. Anywhere from kind of 2 to 14 days is what you'd expect, or 10 days. The world record was about 15 days. Our milk lasts 42 to 47 days raw. We don't know why. We have no idea why. It's something to do with the solid water, and we really don't know why. We're still trying to work it out. It should go off. Camel milk will typically 7 to 10 days is your typical window, just like any other milk. But no, ours is going for much longer. But that does
about a month. It still doesn't smell funny.
Absolutely. And the thing with camel milk is our milk in particular, when it goes off, it doesn't smell. There's no smell. But yeah, so up to 42 days, it does change through the season a little. It comes down to 30 and then back up to 42, 47. So we're trying to work out why that is. And no listeria. So the thing everyone worries about with milk is a listeria bug, because if you're pregnant, you can't have soft cheese because of listeria. Actually, no listeria will grow in our milk. Either will salmonella, and most of the pathogenic E. coli die in it as well. So we've got good quality milk. All right, so we've got good milk. How do we then take that through into shelves or into products that you can consume or use that meet the food safety requirements in Australia? Very stringent food safety laws here in Australia. Overseas, they consume raw milk happily, even in the US, because the laws are a bit looser and there's all these loopholes. But in Australia, we're pretty much locked up. You have to pasteurize it. But if you pasteurize milk, you destroy all the benefit that's in there. So the first 3 years of the project was how do we actually pasteurize it to maintain the health benefits. It took a little bit of work, but we worked that out. So now we know also how to pasteurize and powder it to make it comply with the Australian food safety standards, but also still has the health benefits of the raw milk. These weren't small things. These are huge achievements that took us a long time to do, and a lot of money. There's about 17 million's gone into this business so far to date. Would anyone have invested into a camel dairy when no one had done it before? We didn't even own any camels. We never milked one. Would you have invested with us? So all the people that have invested today honestly should get an Order of Australia medal, because they have literally funded the beginning of an industry in this country.
Can I ask, did you get any grants from any government?
Zero. Thank you. Yep. I did go for the tourism infrastructure grant. We're in the last 10 and we're the only one that really missed out.
What was the kind of feedback you got when you said you wanted to start up? I mean, your parents and work colleagues and friends were
everyone knew me, so that was fair enough. They thought I was nuts. But yeah, I think few of Paul's ag friends thought he was completely off his trolley. So no, but now everybody wants to come and have part of us, don't they? Because we've worked it out. So that was what we did. The other thing we did is, okay, milk, that's easy, but milk's not shelf stable. So even if it's got, when we pasteurize it, we end up with 21 days shelf life. We put 18 on the bottle. We lose half the shelf life by pasteurizing it. But you can't really get very far, can you, with the milk when it's like that? You've got all cold chain logistics. Powder does help. So we said, right, we've got to put it into products that are easy to use. So the first thing, of course, I want to do was skin, something to do with the skin. Now, my son, we had tried everything for his eczema. Everything natural, everything, I'd tried dancing nude in the forest with crystals in the full moon. You name it, we'd done everything. So the first product I made was like a cream to put on it. And all I was trying to do was trying to put something on his skin like a superfood, like a supplement for his skin, to try and help his skin express its skinness properly. Because I tried treating it. Nothing was treating it. So my approach wasn't to treat the eczema, it was just to help his skin be healthy. So I went and did all this literature review for 6 months and identified all the things we know are good for your skin, and we put them into this one kind of cream, we call it body cream, and applied it, and 3 days later he didn't have eczema anymore. I thought, oh, we're onto something here. And so we had a lot of people then come out, and I was making it in a pot in the kitchen, and people would come with their empty Vegemite jars, and I was like spatulaing in there. And then my wife said, well, you better get some proper jars here. And so I got some proper jars, and then someone said, oh, look, it's a bit thick for the face. Can you do one for the face? So, because I'm a complete nerd, I went and researched all the biome on the face. So how many species of fungi are there in the nair of your nostril there?
Is there a prize?
Huh?
Is there a prize?
No. There's heaps. There's over 40. But if you go 1 centimetre to the side, there's only about 2 or 3. It's amazing, isn't it? There's so many ecosystems on your face, and you're covered in insects. If you don't have those insects, you die. Yeah. The insect. If you kill all the bacteria and fungi and insects on your skin, what happens to you? You're dead. 5 to 6 weeks, you die. So you need it. Just imagine if I killed all the bugs in your gut. You know you'd be unwell, wouldn't you? You'd die. It'd take 40 minutes to die. You go into liver failure. So the biome that's on us and in us is vital for a life. There's 33,000 genes in the DNA of barley grass. How many genes do you think there are in us? It's got to be more. We're more complicated than grass, aren't we? Yeah? Well, there's somewhere between 23 to 30,000 genes in us. That's all there is in the human DNA. That can't be right, can it? But it is, it's true. It's because there's millions and millions and millions of genes in the biome on us and in us. Actually, we're not humans, we're an ecosystem. We are literally a walking ecosystem. Because without that biome, you're dead. You need all those genes. And on your skin, you think the bacteria and fungi in your skin, there's hardly any in your skin compared to what's deep in your skin. And every time you use an antibacterial wash, moisturizer, anything, you're destroying the biome on your skin. Why are you doing that? You're destroying your biome, which destroys your skin function, which then leads to wrinkles and all the stuff that people are trying to buy to get away from. The product you're using that says it's fixing it is actually also
Must be
damaging.
why that coronavirus is spreading. People washing their hands.
I'll tell you about that in a second. Coronavirus.
So if you get a bit smelly after sport, you just say to people, that's my biome.
So if you get smelly after sport, it's because of ammonia oxidating bacteria that's short on your skin because you've killed it off. It should be there, but you've destroyed it. It's one of the easiest ones to kill, and that's why people smell.
Not that I smell it.
No, but there's a thing called caveman skin. So if you've tried absolutely everything, there's nothing that'll make your skin better. You just go and live in a very biodiverse ecosystem for 6 weeks and don't wash at all. Don't do anything. Just get really filthy and eat. And usually within 6 weeks, you recover. Why? Because your skin biome reestablishes. You need to be in a biodiverse ecosystem to do it.
Now, skin cancer, is there any effect from camel products?
Yeah, so those classic sunspots, you go and get burnt off.
Yeah.
So we've had quite a few people that have used the body cream on their face, and within 6 weeks they've all gone. Heaps of that. We get lots of farmers that forearms are just destroyed. 6 weeks using the body cream, that's gone. So I'll come back to why I didn't set out to start a skincare company because I knew nothing about skincare. I'm a country boy. We used a bar of Sunlight soap for absolutely everything. We washed our hair with it. I slept. I didn't start a skincare company, but we ended up doing it because they said, can you do the face? And we made one for the face because it's a bit thin, it feels good, but it's good for the biome. Then we did the hands. The hands was the hardest thing. Should we have more or less bacteria in our hands compared to our forearm? Where do you think we have more bacteria and more biodiversity, on our hands or on our forearms? Forearms. There is less on your hands. And the bacteria on your hands is closely associated with what's in your gut. Makes sense, isn't it? You're putting stuff in your mouth. 250,000 years ago, you're walking through a forest just eating whatever. You didn't sanitize before you clean. So the skin and the biome in your skin is actually developed to protect you from getting sick. But every time you wash your hands, you're destroying the biome. It's the biome that protects you. There's a lot to learn about skin. I do workshops on all this stuff. I do 3 different ones. I do an anti-aging, a skin and a gut workshop, 3 times a year for each of them. So if you're interested in that, just come back. But so I made the product, we did all that skin, then we did washes and stuff. So that's how we ended up with a skincare range, and we're stocked nationally now, all around Australia in pharmacy and health food stores. We export to Hong Kong. I've just got back from the UK, Europe and the US, and we just signed up with our Chinese partner, so that's starting to take off, which is really good. So that's a really good way to take camel milk, the benefit of camel milk, through in to help people with their skin issues. Actually, the best thing would be to bath in the milk like Cleopatra did, but it's probably a bit expensive at the moment. Camel milk costs about $10 to $12 a litre to produce. They only produce about 2 to 12 litres a day. Most places will average about 4 to 6 litres, somewhere in there per animal per day, but they eat the same amount as cattle. Cattle produce 25 to 65 litres a day, so that's why the milk costs so much. On top of that, when the cow falls pregnant, she stops producing milk. Cattle, sheep and goats, when they fall pregnant, they can still produce milk. Yeah? Except here, we're the only place in the world where the camels, we can milk them pregnant. It must be something to do with the food and water again, was the only thing we can think of. And then when they're pregnant for 11 to 13 months. So it's kind of year on, year off, year on, year off. That's kind of how it works. Now, milking camels is not like milking cattle, sheep and goats. So for cattle, sheep and goats, about 85% of the milk sits in the udder. Doesn't matter what emotional state the animal's in. When it comes in, you just start milking, you're going to get milk. Yeah. But with camels, it's like milking humans. The camel udder produces milk in the exact same way a human breast produces milk. So for all the ladies that have had children, you had to see your baby, hear your baby, or think about your baby, and you would let down milk. You're not a cow with pendulous udders. You actually had to see, you had to have a trigger to let down, and your baby would get the milk. And it's the same for camels. So you have to have an ethical dairy. So we rescue camels from being inhumanely slaughtered in Australia. We bring them in, we domesticate them. The calf stays with them the whole time in the dairy, because without the calf we don't get any milk. And the camel's udder produces milk biochemically or physiologically the exact same way as human breast milk. So it's the closest milk to human breast milk. That's actually not true. Sea otter milk is the closest milk to human breast milk. I'm not milking sea otters. If you see me milking sea otters, you know I've lost it. No, we'll stick with the camels. But their milk is the same, pretty much the same as human breast milk. And that's why, probably why, one of the reasons why it has such a profound effect on our body for health reasons.
So can you make
Yeah, so the cost of the milk makes it a little bit prohibitive. But interestingly enough though, 85% of the humans on this planet have an adverse immune response to sheep, cow and goat milk. Now only about 3% know that. So we all know someone that's got a dairy allergy or a lactose or whatever. Hardly anyone's lactose intolerant, right?
Everyone's got that.
Everyone can digest lactose. Your mum's breast milk had more lactose in it than any other milk you'll drink. We don't have an issue with lactose, but when you drink sheep, cow or goat milk, there's a protein in there that you have an immune response to, and that then blocks your ability to digest lactose. So lactose for years has been getting blamed as the problem, but about 18 months, 2 years ago, we worked out, no, it's not. It's actually the proteins. So even A2 is a protein. Like all those caseins, all those different proteins, beta-lactagon, they're all problems for us. There's about 15% of people that don't have an issue, but most do. But the thing with camel milk is nobody has an adverse immune response to it. And it's probably because it's similar to human breast milk. Look, we'll find a unicorn one day, won't we? There'll be someone out there that's going to have an allergy to it at some stage. But at this point in time, we just don't know anybody that's ever had a response to it. We've had staff that are anaphylactic to dairy, like a drop of milk touch their lip, they're off to hospitals, with adrenaline to keep them alive. They can guzzle camel milk. So we have a lot of people every day that come to the farm to have a coffee, have a gelato, have some cheese, because they just can't have it, and it's safe because there's no other dairy here. So we get quite a lot of people for that.
If you're putting it forward as a kind of a treatment for various things, I mean,
I'm not. I don't make any
but
claims.
I think when you get into skin and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you monitor the usage of that? I mean, has it got to be daily, or can you do it occasionally?
Look, honestly, so it's a good question. There's a lot of claims around camel milk. So this is what we say at the moment. We don't make any claims. There's enough research. About 53 universities in the world right now trying to research camel milk to try and work out why it's having these effects and is it really having those effects, etc. Yeah. So what we do is we said, right, we're just going to make the best quality milk we can, identify the actives in it and maintain that through to powder and milk that's safe to consume, and then put it into products that are shelf stable that we can export globally to try and help people all over the place. So the first one was skin, so it's external. We don't make any claims, we just say it may help. We don't know if it will or not. We got thousands of cases though before and after, but I didn't make it to make people's, to treat problems. If you go back to the original idea, I just made it to make your skin healthy. So for any of you that don't have skin problems, you use the day or night cream for 6 weeks, people will come up to you and go, what are you doing to your face? You've done something different. Because once your skin starts to actually produce it, like to make itself properly, you look better, don't you? If someone looks well, it's usually their skin in their eyes, isn't it? That looks great. So that's what happens. So we don't really make claims, just say use it as you want. Later, when we have more research, sure, I might make a few products I know I can make that will treat actually specific. They'll be specifically done to treat, and I'll concentrate some of the actives for that. But at the moment, just say, look, it's a good skin product for you. Generally, it's a product I would recommend you just use for your skin, just for skin health.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with the milk itself,
Yeah.
Do you do it as a UHT
So
product?
no, just pasteurised. Never UHT. UHT is terrorized milk.
Yeah.
So they there's nothing left in anything that's been UHT. There's just any powder or any pasteurized milk is pretty much dead milk. It's just a liquid with some protein and fat carbohydrate in it. Yeah. So we have made powder, and we are now making some nutraceutical, like nutritional supplement type products. And the first one is to support people with diabetes, type 2 diabetes. So the reason we know it works for diabetes, or the things we know about it, is the fat is highly anti-inflammatory in it, probably why it helps your skin as well. And the proteins, the immune proteins will kill off nasty bugs in your gut. We know type 2 diabetics have a dysbiosis in the gut. And the carbohydrate in milk is basically there's about 120 novel oligosaccharides in there. Oligosaccharides are prebiotics, so they specifically feed the good bugs in your gut. So between those three things, that's probably why it's working for diabetics. So we're working a diabetic thing, although in the last 4 weeks I've had nearly 100 phone calls from China, from all the camel industry people we know there, and what they're seeing is people getting flu-like symptoms and recovering quicker consuming raw camel milk. We know that camel milk will upregulate your humoral immunity specifically for viruses. So Professor Mark Harvey at QT and the guys at UQ that have the coronavirus that are working on the vaccine, I've been talking to them, and I'm putting a white paper over to them probably on Monday. It was meant to be Friday, but I didn't get it done. But it'll be Monday, and we're going to do a little short study to see if the milk actually helps upregulate your immunity for the virus as well. It won't be coronavirus. The coronavirus is flu, right? We've got a flu. It's just a novel version of it. But if it upregulates your own immune system and helps you deal with that, that's a good thing. The immune supplement was going to be the second one I did. I bet you I get bloody hoodwinked into doing that first because of this. That would be a good thing, because that's good for our business too. And so the skincare and the supplements for me are better. They're shelf stable. We can get them everywhere in the world and help everyone that needs some help, even if it's a little bit. It's good. The milk and the dairy is pretty much for us, isn't it, in the local region, wherever we can ship it. We do export our cheese to the US though now. So.
With the milk itself, have there been any taste issues?
We have the best tasting milk in Australia. We've won gold medal at the International Dairy Show several times for the best tasting milk. We beat everything.
The goat milk people have some problems in that respect.
Goat milk fresh tastes good. It's when they pasteurise it, they often change the biome and it starts taking on that strong taste. Camel milk is not like goat milk. Camel milk is like human breast milk. It's different.
Since I've tasted that.
No, most people haven't. So there are five taste sensations: sweet, salt, sour, bitter, and umami. Most milk does not have a lot of sweet or umami. Yeah, but camel milk has all 5 tastes dominant. So when you drink camel milk, the tasting notes is a full, clean mouthfeel. Full, all 5 are dominant. Clean, you're not having an immune response, so there's no mucus produced. So it's a clean mouthfeel. So we always win, and the cheese is divine. Now you're not meant to be. What's the time? Let's go in. Let's go and taste them.